And here we are, guys. It is Friday, free for all. Welcome to the Sports Nerds Network. I am your host, Scott Wright, the Sports Nerd. Here tonight with my co-host, Elliot Biggie Lamba, and our college football guy, Scott SWT Pistons.
Hello.
Toth. I keep forgetting how to say your name.
Doesn't matter. Whatever you feel like saying.
And we're probably gonna recap a little bit of the game last night, talk a little World Series. I haven't seen Scott since the World Series ended, so we want to talk about that a little bit. And we're gonna get into our college talk at the bottom of the hour. We'll get the college football going. We'll go over last week's games and then preview this week. First off, Mr. Elliot Biggie Lamba, last night's game was about what I expected, a little bit of a blowout, and it wasn't as close as the score showed because they got garbage time points at the end of the game, again, as always. We found it was like 43-28 or something like that. Atlanta beat Tampa Bay.
Actually, the way I saw it is that Tampa Bay put up all the points early and couldn't score late.
Yeah, I think they had one last touchdown in the last couple of minutes of the game, I think, if I remember correctly. I don't know. But regardless, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones went off on that defense, which is a really bad defense, as we discovered.
I mean, that's all stats verify that.
Yeah, and
Ryan had a huge day.
Yeah, he did. How did we do in fantasy last night, Elliot? As far as how do we do it?
Interesting game, as I said last night. It was a good day to play everyone in this game because both teams. Now, here's the thing that I think impacted Tampa's ability to hang in the game is that their running game wasn't what it's been with Jacquizz Rodgers in there.
Yeah, and they lost another running back for the season. They got Smith for the season too. So
Anton Smith is now gone too.
Yeah, he's done.
Well, let me put it this way. And a special alert. This is a public service announcement. So all you guys out there that would want to be running backs for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, don't do it. No matter how much of a bonus they give you, don't do it.
Right.
That's 3 guys now on the IR. Are you kidding me? It's almost you know what? If I was Peyton Barber, I would increase my insurance this week.
And he's a rookie, so yeah, you might want to.
I'd call my policy holder and say, "Hey, I need an increase. This is dangerous. I want hazard pay for wearing this uniform." That's what it is. I mean, that's what it appears to be.
Yeah.
That's rough, especially if you're like Mike James, who now has to be the torchbearer down there.
Yeah.
Who are they going to bring in now?
I don't know who's out there. I mean, can we get Marshawn retirement maybe and have him play the rest of the season?
I mean, come on. These guys have nothing going on. I mean, every running back that comes in there gets injured.
Now Davis is available. Maybe they can get him in there.
Hey, maybe he'll last longer than 2 hours with them.
Right?
Because now didn't even have enough time to finish his coffee.
Exactly.
With the Jets.
Exactly.
That's funny. Just some news real quick, and this affects the fantasy for me anyway in a couple of areas. I'm going to be making some changes to my sits. The fact that Aqib Talib is not going to be playing on Sunday.
I saw that.
I no longer feel confident about sitting Derek Carr or Amari Cooper.
Right.
When Talib was in play,
yeah,
I'm like, if Talib is playing Cooper, Crabtree is going to go off.
Right.
No Talib, either one of them is going to go off, maybe at this point. Because Talib is the anchor on the secondary of that defense.
Correct.
Here's Harris. So
yeah,
I'm changing that. I'm gonna let you know that right now.
Okay.
And I'll take care of that on Sunday. I'm also considering changing my Barnage pick for the start. Since Kessler is now going to be the starter.
Cody Kessler will be starting for the Browns on Sunday. Yes.
Yeah, that didn't bode well for my confidence as far as Barnidge goes. And from what I understand, Carlos Hyde is still questionable. Hasn't been cleared yet.
You know what? I haven't seen anything else. I haven't seen anything other than the fact that he might. I mean, I don't have him in my rosters, any of my rosters, so I'm not really sure about that is concerned. But I haven't seen any updates as far as him being out or in, or other than
I put it this way: 3 of us chose Hyde as a start. As far as for myself, speaking for myself, if he doesn't play, I'll go ahead and put Mike Davis in there.
Okay.
The running back from San Francisco, because New Orleans defense is that bad.
Yeah, it is, and that's probably what I'll do too. Because I think I probably started him. I think I started Carlos Hyde too. Because I think I like that pick.
Yeah, you're one of the 3. I mean, you and Kirk started Hyde, and that could change if he's not cleared to play. So
yeah.
But yeah, just to let you know ahead of time, I am going to make some changes on Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Okay. As far as the all the picks and stuff, dude, we did really well.
It wasn't a difficult game to pick. It really wasn't.
There was only one, through the entire thing, there was only one blemish through the entire thing. We all got the versus right. Ryan over Winston.
Right.
Okay, Ryan put up some points. Winston put up a few points too, just not quite as many as Ryan.
Right.
And as far as the game itself, we all chose the Falcons, obviously, so we got that right. All right. And for the ones that we picked that were involved in last night's game, I didn't have any picks from last night's game. You guys, Scooter had Matt Ryan, obviously. Matt Ryan, seriously, I don't think you can sit Matt Ryan anymore.
Yeah, no, you can't.
So, putting him on a start, sit him, I don't think he's qualified for that anymore. But anyway, you chose Derek chose Jameis Winston. He got that right. Winston had a representative game. And on your side, you got Devontae Freeman.
Yep.
Correct. And Austin Hooper.
Yeah.
Who scored me 12.1 points last night. I was like, yes. Austin Hooper came through in the clutch. Yes. So basically that was 4 out of 4 from last night there. Now on the hires and lowers, that's where the blemish came in, because somebody sold out their homer pick and decided to say that Mike Evans couldn't score 17.5 points when he wound up with like 32.
Was that me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, of course it was.
The homer pick. You went against the homer pick.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And he actually, you know what? It's kind of a good thing, because if I would have chose those two in the matchup, we probably would have all chose Julio Jones and lost. Mm-hmm. Because Evans outplayed Julio Jones last night as far as fantasy goes.
That's interesting. He had some great catches. He had dropped a couple too, but he had some really good catches last night.
That one where the one-handed, it almost looked like the Odell catch, and then he got crunched in the right underneath the helmet in the chin area.
Yeah.
He's on concussion protocol for that, by the way.
I'm not surprised.
But hey, they got 10 days off, so he should be clear enough to come back, cleared in time to come back for their next game.
Yeah, I would think so.
10 days from now. So Talib's out. What else is going on? Doesn't look like much of anything else is going on. Oh, Chiefs have ruled out Spencer Ware.
Okay.
So Sharkandrick West is going to be the man this week against that Jacksonville defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting there as well. They're calling Ben questionable for Sunday, but Terrell Suggs went on the record and said Ben ain't fooling nobody. We'll see him. We'll see him on Sunday.
Absolutely. Hey, Gary.
So that was the comic relief for the day for me. Now that's funny. That's
loser.
Really
loser, really?
loser.
Why you call me loser? Are you talking about the Indians or the Bucks? Either way, yeah, I'm a loser.
Loser? Man, you got some aggressive people on this show.
Gary just tries to be aggressive. He just doesn't know. He's just a wuss in real life, but that's okay.
But no, last night's game was predictable.
Yeah.
I knew that I think I might have called it the Falcons might put up a 40 burger this week.
Yeah.
And again, I think the thing that hurt besides the turnovers, obviously, that hurt Tampa Bay the most was the fact that they didn't have the running game.
Right.
And when Smith and these guys weren't doing it, although Peyton Barber looked a bit impressive.
Yeah.
I just saw the game slipping away at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the same thing or not, but I saw the game definitely slipping. So that wraps up the Thursday edition of football, fantasy football. We got a lot of good stuff coming up on the Sunday show.
Yeah.
So make sure you tune in at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time for the Sports Nerds and Maniacs Fantasy Football Show. It'll be myself, Scott, Scooter.
Scooter will be. I don't know where Scooter is tonight, but he'll be there, I'm sure.
Hey, I think he might be recovering tonight from the. I think he came on the show last night. He looked a little worn, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He looked a little rough, that's for sure.
I think tonight he decided to take the night off because he knows he's got to bring it on Sunday.
Yep. Yes, he does.
But it's interesting. I mean, we'll see how it goes. It's going to be an interesting weekend. Remember, we got another 6 teams off, so fantasy points are going to come from weird places. You know, Cameron Brate had a great game last night too.
Yes, he did.
He scored. Well, in my league, he scored over 16 fantasy points, or 15.
Okay.
And Matt Bryant also had a great game last night.
Yeah.
He scored about 16 or so points. So, it was a good game for everybody. There was really no way you could go wrong unless you started Anton Smith.
Right, exactly.
Other than that, it was a no-lose situation as far as fantasy went. So,
yeah. It was,
all right, guys. Well, that's it for me. Pleasure being here as always. I know you guys are ready to talk some baseball and get on with your NCAA.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
I'll bid you all a farewell for tonight and see you on Sunday morning.
See you Sunday morning, Elliot. Thanks for coming in and doing that. Appreciate it. See you.
See you, Elliot.
All right, let's talk some baseball.
Sounds good to me.
I know you watched that game. You were up all night watching that game because you couldn't go to bed until like 2 o'clock that morning.
That's right. That was for 2 teams that I'm not a fan of. A casual fan, I guess you could say.
Right.
I was nervous watching that game.
Yeah, I mean, dude. I'm sitting I wasn't at my computer. I had my phone next to me, but it wasn't at my computer. I wanted to be focused on the game itself, and I'm going nuts, man. I mean, they were 6-3 in the 8th inning, and I'm going, oh shit, here we go. Yeah. And then all of a sudden that 3-burger in the bottom of the 8th, and I'm stoked. I'm going off. Here we go. That's it. You know, and
I had that feeling in the 9th that I had a feeling the Indians were going to score in the 9th. Just because
I thought they were going to score in the 9th too. They had the big bats coming up, and I thought maybe because it was the same guys that scored in the 8th that were coming up in the 9th.
Right, and he brought Chapman back out there.
And Chapman came back down. He was really gassed. You could see he was gassed.
Right,
he wasn't on target, and I thought maybe that they could, they would just go off on him, but no, he finished off the inning okay. Yeah. He had a good inning. And
I was shocked he came back out.
I thought they were.
Yeah, I was shocked he came back out in the 9th. But then the rain happened.
The rain delay. Yeah, I think that it took and Chapman, was it Chapman? No, it wasn't Chapman. Yeah. It was the guy that hit the leadoff home run in the first inning. He took them all in the back and said, okay, This is who we are. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
And got
Yeah, it was Hayward.
a brief team meeting while the rain was coming down, and got them focused back on the game itself, and then came out and scored 2 runs in the top of the 10th. Indians made a game of it because they scored 1 in the bottom, but they couldn't get one over. So, but the reason for that is because Tito was down to his last man on the bench. I think that's why he that he didn't have no choice but put that kid up there and try to drive a run in. But it was a great game.
Yeah, it was fantastic. One of the best games I've ever seen. Now, I started, as I always do in this stupid mind of mine, I was thinking rain delay. What happens if this rain delay goes 2, 3, 4 hours? Do they stay and play, or do they call it and play the next night? What do they do?
I know, right? It's like, oh God, don't let. Well, they didn't seem to be afraid of the fact that the cell was coming through. It wasn't going to be long, so they knew that going into it. So, it was. I mean, that's probably the best World Series Game 7 I've seen since '91.
Just from the get-go.
May even be better than that game, and that was Smoltz going in extra innings. They were nothing in the 10th inning in that game. So, it was something. It was back and forth, so much emotion involved, and whoever won. I mean, the history involved with that. Just of course the Cubbies, because that's 108 years, but still, it's 70 years for the Indians, isn't it? Well, it was 48. So about that. Yeah. It was 38 or whatever. Yeah. 7 years for the Indians and 108 for the Cubbies.
So either way, it would have been whoever won.
Well, we talked about it on Wednesday's show, how it was, or I'm sorry, on yesterday's a little bit, how good that series was for baseball in general. Oh yeah.
That's all anybody was talking about.
I mean, 40 million people watched that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's more. I mean, that's just in this country. And that's more than watched the Super Bowl. That was better ratings than Super Bowl had.
Yeah.
So that was good for baseball. And hopefully, we can get it. It can bring some more excitement back to the game, because that was a lot of fun to watch. That was a great series. And those players had so much respect for each other. It wasn't funny. There was no hostile feelings. There were didn't have any bench clearing brawls or any throwing at batters. It was just straight up and down, straightforward baseball. And it was a lot of fun to watch. It really was.
It was great. Yeah. Yeah. Not having a team involved, that was fantastic to see.
They just re-upped Tito and Santana both today. So that they got those guys back in the fold. I'd like to see them, but of course, I think Kubler's already locked up, and there's majority of that team's locked up. So the Indians are going to be good for a while, just like the Cubs will be. So maybe we'll see another one like it.
Right. Yeah. Amazing. That's all I can say.
I know you want your Tigers in there, but they're not that.
Good, so. They're not that. And they've started the purge, what the GM had said a couple weeks ago. They got rid of Cameron Maybin and got a minor league pitcher who might be very good, but they didn't want to pay him the $9 million, so they traded him. So we're going to see what happens next. But now there's rumors flying about trading Verlander, and the only one I don't think that they're going to touch is Miggy. But they're talking about trading Kinsler. And,
closing, shutting them down, getting rid of getting rid of people and starting fresh.
Well, they got to start drafting players then, because all they ever draft are pitchers.
Yeah,
which is great, but you're deep at pitching, but they don't have any guys coming up that can replace these guys. There's no second baseman. They have a center fielder, but they don't know if they think he'll be ready next year, but we won't know until spring training. So what do you do then? You go with a guy like Anthony Gose, who's proven he can't hit worth a crap. Decent fielder, got some speed, but he can't hit. So no point having speed if you can't get on base.
Right.
But yeah, it was incredible scene to see. Just the people outside in Wrigleyville, all the video.
They said 5 million people showed up for the parade. 5 million.
They had a clip on NBC News tonight. They showed people coming up to the security, they all run and they all stop and they get through and they run again. And it's like, I mean, that's cool now, 5 million people, but if I'm in the way back, what the hell am I going to see? Why am I there? But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So now baseball is over. We got the awards coming up. Hall of Fame at the beginning of the year.
Hendricks gets the Cy Young?
Who's that?
Hendricks. You think Hendricks gets the National League?
That's who I'm picking, yeah.
Who do you like in the American League?
I think I went with Kluber.
Yeah.
I think I did, yeah. If I remember right.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I did not. I went with Porcello.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
that's what
Kluber had a great season, but I don't know if it's enough to get him over the top into the Cy Young this year.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah, so,
but those. I mean, look at the last game. You had Miller, Kluber, Chapman. They didn't pitch their best only because they were so freaking tired and they got used so much.
Well, and it's not just they were tired. With Kluber, that was the third time the Cubs had seen him in that series, and so
exactly
they knew what was coming.
Yeah,
they could actually scout the pitches and know what could be coming. I think Miller ran out of gas.
Yeah,
even though he was on 2 days, on 2 days rest, I think he ran out of gas.
Yeah,
and they had seen a lot of him too. Lester was out of gas. You could tell when he was throwing late in that game. He was out. He was done.
That's the only criticism I have is I don't understand Madden and his use of the pitchers. And it started with Game 6. They're up 3 runs, and he brings them in the 7th inning.
Yeah,
I didn't get that. Especially, I know you play for today because you might not be there tomorrow.
Right.
But that was really early to bring him in, especially when you got a 3-run lead.
Oh, he was pitching very well. He only got 2 or 3 hits.
4 1/3 he only won. He only pitched 63 pitches.
Yeah, he only threw the ball just over 60 times.
Yeah, I don't get that.
So, I mean, a lot of people were second guessing that and bringing in Lester like that, and then leaving Chapman in the game too. They were questioning him.
Yeah.
Luckily, the team bailed him out, and they ended up winning that game. But still.
Well, I think the biggest mistake was he should have let Hendricks finish the inning. Okay, if you don't think he can go more than 5, fine, but let him get to 5 because when you bring in Lester in a relief role where he's got guys already on base, it's so different than if he comes in the next inning and starts off like he's starting off a game, And so he didn't look very good in that inning, the 5th inning. He threw the pass ball and the 2 runs scored, and then he was fantastic. He was lights out after that. I just don't think he was used to that situation, having to come in with guys on already, and that's a big difference.
It is. You're right. It is. It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lead, and taking Hendricks out was just, in my opinion, was a bad choice. Really bad.
Yeah.
But it didn't hurt them. They ended up winning the game. So you can second guess him all you want. He still won the game.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess it's so easy to criticize, but I like to know his thinking. I haven't listened to any interviews with him to try to understand why he did what he did.
Right.
Maybe he has a legit reason for it. I have no idea.
Well, he could tell you why he did it, and you still wouldn't understand what he was saying. But that's okay. That's Joe Madden,
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a long list of college games from last week we need to get into.
And this is actually a very exciting week before we get into the games because the first official rankings came out.
Yes, they did.
So this is going to be good. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, because of the fact that the committee came out with their rankings, and it was a bit of a surprise in the rankings, at least for one team, in my mind. But it was.
But again, we say that, but by the end of the year, it will all get worked out. Yeah,
because history says only 2 of those 4 are going to be there at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. We'll get to that, Gary, in just a minute. We're gonna review last week's game. First of all, your Spartans didn't do so well against Michigan. I mean, they were down 27-10 at halftime. Let some garbage points come in at the end, but it wasn't going to be. It was all Michigan all the time, and there was no doubt about it from the opening.
But you know what, though, the way that game ended, if D'Antonio did a few things differently, that last touchdown could have tied the game. Yeah. Because instead of going for a field goal earlier in the game, he went for a touchdown He went for it, and I don't know why. He ran the ball 4 straight plays and got snuffed. And just at the end, it should have been a 7-point game when they scored that last touchdown. They should have tied it. But that's the way it goes. Because you can't count. Yeah, okay, they got the last 2 points, but that was blocked extra point. Or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't a blocked. He went for 2. I have no idea why he went for 2 at that point, but whatever. We couldn't figure it out. We didn't see what the advantage of him going for 2 at that point was.
Trying to get as many points as he possibly could, I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
I mean, what's the difference? It was 32-23 or 32-25. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Next up, Buckeyes against Northwestern. Again, the Buckeyes not looking very good for the second week in a row.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with that team, but
they're like Florida State. They play down to their competition, and it ends up biting them in the ass. They need to get their shit together because they got Michigan in 3 weeks. So that's going to be the big game.
They were tied going into the 4th quarter against Northwestern.
Yeah, this is
at home.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. They were at home. There's no reason why they shouldn't have won this game by at least 3 touchdowns. They should have, but they didn't. I don't understand it. They got Nebraska this weekend, so Nebraska is a lot better than Northwestern is. So but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Huskies continue to roll. They went into Utah, played a really good Utah team.
Yeah.
They win by 7. Huskies.
It's an impressive win. I saw some of that game.
That's their best win of the season. They still got to play a couple of teams in the Pac-12 yet before they get to Selection Sunday.
Yeah.
I like the Huskies to be in that Final Four at the end. I think they represent the Pac-12. I think they win the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to represent the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
The Big 12, of course, is going to be shut out this year. Totally. There will be no Pac-12 champion in or Big 12 champion in the Final Four.
Not for the 2 best teams got.
It's true.
Yeah.
Don't start with me.
Well, the 2 best teams got beat this week. We won't get into those.
Exactly. Yeah. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, Gators in Georgia. Gators were, they rolled over Georgia. Georgia's a really bad team this year. I don't know what happened to them. People had such high hopes for them, but I hate to see the Gators win, but it is what it is. I think the Gators are on course to win the SEC East.
Yeah,
which means they're going to be facing probably Alabama in the championship game, where they're going to get their ass kicked, pretty much.
Yep.
They still have to play LSU though, so that could change.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Wisconsin handled Nebraska.
Hell of a game.
I didn't see this game. I didn't see any of it actually.
This is a 7:00 game.
Pretty close game for most of the way.
Yeah, it went to OT.
It went to OT, right? So it did go to OT. Nebraska scored 10 points in the 4th quarter to get that tie, get it there for time.
Well, what was great about the OT, Wisconsin got the ball first. They scored a touchdown, and they missed the extra point. So you're thinking this is a great opportunity for Nebraska, and they just couldn't put it in the end zone.
Yeah, Nebraska is more about defense than they are about offense. They don't have a great offense. Their defense is what's carried them.
Yep.
But they play the Buckeyes this week, so we'll see what happens there too.
Yeah.
Auburn continues to roll for like the 3rd or 4th week in a row. I mean, they just tore Ole Miss apart on Saturday.
I like this Ole Miss team.
Kelly still had a good game. He threw 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. I like that kid a lot.
Yep.
But it just isn't enough. I mean, Auburn was just rolling.
Yeah.
They've got that big game ahead of them. The Iron Bowl against Alabama. I don't know where that game is going to be played, if it's in Alabama or Auburn. I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
But that's going to be a really, really interesting matchup when Auburn and Alabama get together, because Auburn's playing the best football of the season right now.
Right.
And they look like they can't be beat. Oklahoma State, West Virginia. What did you put this game on there for? Is it because West Virginia was the last Big 12 team to be undefeated, or is that reason why? Or
because they were ranked 10th in the country at this point. It's either them or Baylor as their top team. So to say that the conference was done didn't happen until these losses, because they still had an outside shot of making the Final Four. even without a conference championship. But after last week, there's no way any of those teams are even going to make it. So
yeah, there's no team in the Big 12 is going to make the Final Four.
Right.
And then it's just, Big 12 is terrible. It really is. It's just awful.
It is.
Tennessee, South Carolina. I don't know what's happened to Tennessee, but they just, for some reason, they've fallen off a cliff. I think they've lost 2 or 3 in a row.
Yep.
Beginning with the Alabama game.
Yeah, this was a surprise.
Yeah. There's no reason why Tennessee should not have beat South Carolina. South Carolina is not a very good team, but Tennessee just.
And I threw this in here because of Brian. So
yeah.
not because they lost, but because he likes to talk Tennessee, and I want to make sure our teams get included in this.
Yeah,
and at least
absolutely.
talk about them. So
yeah, well, I mean, Tennessee, they still got to win one game to even be bowl eligible at this point, and they should win one, but we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
Of course, Baylor, Texas, and that one went in because Baylor was also one of the 2 best teams in the Big 12, and they get beat by Texas.
Yeah, they were both undefeated. West Virginia and Baylor were both undefeated.
Not anymore, they're not.
Exactly.
So
Texas. How do you lose to Texas?
I know. Texas is just so bad. It's hot and cold and whatnot. So
yeah.
And then finally, Clemson goes into Tallahassee and ekes out a win. That was a
really good game. Really
good game.
Florida State couldn't stop them in the 4th.
No, Florida State hadn't been able to stop anybody in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, FSU is now 5-3, which is unheard of after being ranked number 2 in the country to start the season.
Yeah.
Florida
State was ahead 28-20 going into the 4th. And
yeah. They came back and they tied the game up in the second quarter after being down 14-0.
Yep.
I thought that gave me some hope that they would do well.
It was a good game. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. But I'm for some reason I'm really liking Louisville, so I need Clemson to lose. I don't think it's going to happen. So.
Well, I mean, we had some really good games, and we got some good matchups. I think this week too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a few, not as many.
4 games up here today. This week.
There's a lot of supposedly lopsided games going to be played tomorrow.
Yeah.
But as we know, I usually add games to this because of upsets and whatnot. So
yeah. Well, the 4 you got here, Florida, Arkansas, which is really a good matchup.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's besides LSU, this is going to be their toughest test before getting to the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Iowa, Penn State, a Big Ten matchup in Happy Valley.
Yeah. Just the way Penn State's been playing, that's why I threw it on here.
Right. And then, of course, the last 2 games, the biggest 2 games of the week, Nebraska at Ohio State in Columbus. The way Ohio State's been playing, they're primed for another upset like they did against Penn State. They're at home, so let's hope they can get some going. I mean, that's all I can hope for at this point. Go Buckeyes, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But I think Nebraska's defense is gonna give Ohio State trouble.
Not only is this a good matchup, but if you look at this and look at the records, whoever loses this is done. They're out of the playoff picture.
Yeah, they're out of the playoff picture, and
so
Ohio
one of
State,
these teams is going to be eliminated this week.
So even if Ohio State goes out and beats Michigan, they're not going to win the Big Ten championship because Michigan will go there because they will have a better record, so they'll probably be in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah,
that would knock Ohio State out of that, and any hope of getting in the playoff. Ohio State still controls their own destiny. If they win out, then they'll be in the Big Ten championship, and so when they win, then yes, they'll be in the Final Four.
Yeah,
but they have to win out.
But see, this is scary. This is scaring me a little bit because if that scenario plays out, and now you've got Nebraska that if they lose, now you've got them and Wisconsin with 2 losses atop the other division.
Right.
Now, let's say by some miracle, Nebraska or Wisconsin, whoever goes to the Big Ten championship and wins that game, they could get bounced out of the Final Four because they're going to have 2 losses.
And Michigan will jump. We'll leapfrog both Ohio State and whoever loses that game and whoever wins that game.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. If it's Michigan and Nebraska or Wisconsin, or even if it's Ohio State in one of those 2, if Wisconsin or Nebraska wins the Big Ten championship, the Big Ten might not get a team in the Final Four because in that case, those teams have 2 losses, and they'll take 1-loss teams over that easily.
Yeah.
So
it'll put a wrench in the works for sure.
Yeah.
And finally, Alabama LSU prime time. That's probably going to be the ABC game of the week.
Yep. At LSU
in Baton Rouge. LSU has seemed to be playing well, a lot better. We talked about this last week, a lot better since Les Miles left. And I think that's a good thing because I think Les Miles was the reason why they were losing in the first place.
Yep. And it seems Fournette's back.
Fournette killed a guy last week. Did you see that run? The guy just knocked him over. There was a lot of memes out there on the internet with the guy when Fournette ran him over. He planted into the ground. And there was a grave. He just popped right over the top of it. He went out so hard.
That's good. That's good.
If Fournette, if not for injuries, Fournette would be a leading candidate for the Heisman right along.
That's why he came back this year. He wanted some more experience and Heisman and didn't work out.
He's going to be a high draft choice if he keeps playing this way. He'll be a high draft choice for some team next year. Hopefully not the Browns. The Browns could use a running back, but they need more help in the defensive side and the quarterback before they can worry about getting another running back in there.
Right.
But this is going to be a really good game. This will see how good Alabama really is. They're going into hostile territory against a team that's playing really well. And if they can roll LSU like they have everybody else they played this year, no one's going to stop the Crimson Tide. Nobody. I don't care who you are. I don't even think Auburn will be good enough because if they roll LSU, then they've got a pretty clear sail to not just the SEC championship, but at the Final Four, and I think the national championship too.
Yep.
And the first back-to-back champion in the playoff era. So all right, so we go now for the interesting part of the show is the college football rankings, official rankings, came out Tuesday night, and the top four were Alabama number 1, Clemson number 2, Michigan number 3, and here's the surprise: Texas A&M was number 4.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm assuming they're going off strength of schedule, who they've beaten.
Yeah.
Because Texas A&M is a one-loss team, whereas the Huskies are an undefeated team.
Yeah.
But the Huskies should not be upset with the rankings. They're right where they need to be.
Yep.
To make a run and get into that Final Four.
This is what happened to Michigan State last year.
Yeah.
And again, you do your job. You win your conference. You win the championship game. Right. You have 0 or 1 loss.
Correct.
You're more than likely going to make it in.
Yeah. I mean, if they win out, they'll be in there along with, and you know what? As far as the top 4 at the end of the season, historically, the top 4 at the beginning of these rankings, 2 of the 4 don't make it. They don't make it to the end. That's about par for the course.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of teams in there that can sneak in. Washington, Louisville, Auburn, possibly, depending on how well they do the rest of the way. Ohio State is supposed to be in the mix, but they have to do their job and they have to win out as well as beat Michigan in order to have a chance to be in that Final Four. If Michigan beats Ohio State, and the Buckeyes are done. Yep. So that's
the thing, though, is they all have earned it because if Ohio State beats Michigan, then wins the Big Ten championship, they're going to play 2 quality teams 2 weeks in a row. Same with Michigan. And at that point, they've deserved to get in.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we're going to look. I think we're going to see. We could have an SEC, an ACC, a Pac-12, and a Big Ten in the Final Four, and that's what it's looking like.
Yeah.
4 of the top 5 conferences are going to be in there. So
if you look at this list I put together, we've got 14 teams here. Realistically, I see 9 of these teams that have a legit shot to make the Final Four.
Oh, absolutely. And
all the other ones with 2 losses, I don't see how they can do it.
No, I don't think so either. I don't see Wisconsin or Auburn making it in. Nebraska, if they went out and win the Big Ten championship, they could sneak into the Final Four. Florida, I don't think Florida. The only way Florida makes it in is if they beat Alabama in the SEC championship. It's the only way they can do it. Well, win out and beat Alabama. That's all.
Yeah, and if you look at it now, like I said, 9 teams I think are realistic right now. After this week, it's going to be down to 8 because either Ohio State or Nebraska is going to be out.
Right.
And then after that, you say out of those 8 teams, you got Florida, Texas A&M, and Alabama, and A&M won't make it because they're in the same division as Alabama, if I'm correct.
They are correct. Yes, they are.
So if they can't make it to the championship game, there's no way they can make the Final Four. I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
But
I don't.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, you got the divisions in here as well.
Yeah, I figured we're only about 3-4 weeks out from the end of the season, and last week when we were talking a little bit, I didn't really have a good feel for the division, so I wanted to throw them up here and see realistically. Now that we're only about 4 weeks out from championship games, who can actually make it? It's like when ACC, you look at that and you say your best 2 teams are Clemson and Louisville, but they're in the same division. So
right. They're in the same conference, the same division. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, Clemson's got to lose 2 in order for Louisville to make it because Louisville lost to them. And I don't see that happening. And then you look at the other side, they're going to be playing a Virginia Tech team or a North Carolina team, both solid teams, but I don't think either one's competition.
Well, I don't know that Clemson has a tough schedule the rest of the way. They've already played Louisville. They've already played Florida State.
Right.
They played NC State. They don't really have a test that I can see the rest of the way.
Yeah.
As far as the conferences are concerned, I mean, they've already. I think they played Miami already. I think they beat Miami already too. So, but Miami's not that good.
Yeah.
The Big Ten. This is the interesting one. Like
they got. Okay. I just brought up Clemson. They're at Syracuse. I'm sorry. They're at home against Syracuse this week. Then they're at home against Pittsburgh, at Wake Forest, at home against South Carolina. So.
Yeah, they don't have it. That's nothing for them. That schedule is cake.
Yep.
It really is. Going to the Big Ten, this is where it gets really interesting. The top 3 teams in the East, Penn State's got to win over Ohio State, so that puts them in the mix. You got Michigan and Ohio State on a collision course at the end of the season. Wisconsin's already beat Nebraska. So Nebraska is hanging by a thread. I can see a 2 or 3. There's definitely probably going to be a 2. If Nebraska doesn't beat Ohio State, you're looking at the West champion having 2 losses going into the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, for all purposes, Penn State's out of it because their 1 loss came to Michigan, so Michigan would have to lose twice in order for Penn State to make in. So
yeah,
but yeah, that West. I mean, everybody's. Well, you got Nebraska 4-1, and you got 4 teams at 3-2, and then Purdue's 1-4. So that's up there, especially with Nebraska playing Ohio State this week.
Right.
Very likely they're going to drop down to 4-2 if all these other teams. I don't know who's playing who.
Ohio State does what they're supposed to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that West is wide open. Now I wanted to look this up. Washington. See, I went to the Pac-10 here, and Washington. When do they play Washington State? Because they're both
last game of the season.
Because they're both 5-0.
Yeah,
and that'll be huge because whoever wins that goes in. Where did I put that? Here we go. Yeah, it is. You're correct. It's at Washington State. Same weekend as the Michigan-Ohio State game, Thanksgiving weekend. So that could be huge too. Mm-hmm. And then whoever wins that's probably got Colorado, which is interesting. Utah and USC are up there too. So, yeah, that's why I threw these up here because I didn't realize how close some of these are.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Then you got the SEC, Auburn and Alabama on a collision course. That'll be a great game.
That's huge.
Florida still has to play LSU as well in Baton Rouge as a makeup game because of the hurricane. So they got that on their schedule. They've already beaten Tennessee. They beat Georgia. They've beaten pretty much everybody in their, that they've played in their division. So Florida has the inside track on the SEC championship game. But then again, the West is so much stronger, so much better than the East is right now.
Yeah,
it really is. So it's going to be a good finish to the season.
I want to look something up here. Okay, so they did lose. Okay, I was just looking up Auburn's scenario because if they win out and they play Alabama last game and Auburn wins, then they've got a tied record and they would jump Alabama for beating them.
Yeah. But
Auburn did lose to Texas A&M earlier in the year.
Alabama's already beat them too.
Alabama's beat
Texas A&M.
Right. Texas A&M beat Auburn earlier in the year. So, Yeah, it's interesting. So that would be the case. It would be if everybody wins out till the last week, Auburn beats Alabama and Texas A&M wins, and Texas A&M becomes
yeah, Gary, I agree with you on that opinion. If any of the West teams, with maybe the exception of Mississippi State, yeah, I think they would win the East as well. I think any team in that division is better than anybody in the East.
Yeah.
Now the plot thickens in regards to the Heisman race. I mean, Lamar Jackson, you actually put Jake Browning in here as well this week. And then, of course, Deshaun Watson. I still think Deshaun Watson is not having a Heisman quality year. I really don't.
Yeah, and I pull these off of ESPN. So what they do is, if you look on the right, it's got their actual voting right now, and Lamar Jackson's way ahead of everybody.
Look at Jabril Peppers, though. He's in there. He played. How many positions did he play last week?
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting some recognition. This is the Charles Woodson thing, because you're going to need to sway a lot of voters to agree that a defensive player can win the Heisman. Yes, he does a lot of offensive things and special teams, but he is a defensive guy, and it's very rare a defensive guy wins the Heisman. So he's going to have to be very, very impressive. He's going to have to put on a game like you wouldn't believe against Ohio State and beat them in order to be a strong candidate for Heisman, because Lamar Jackson, to me, has been the best player all year.
Yeah, he's only a sophomore, so he can't even come out for the draft after this year. He has to play one more year.
Yeah, and Browning's a sophomore too, the quarterback for Washington. So, but so it's interesting. I think there's 4 or 5 guys that are still in the mix here for Heisman, and that's about it.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, Lamar Jackson doesn't have to do much of anything the rest of the year. He plays a normal game. He's going to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the way he's played, the way he's run over all those defenses. I mean, Jake Browning's having a good season, and finally got some eyes on him when they played against Utah last week. That's because he probably hasn't gotten a lot of eyes on him until last week. So, and I'm sure that people will be watching him as the rest of the season unfolds. Can't believe we're halfway through the season already, almost 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah, it's only 4 weeks left. They play what are they do for? Yeah, 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah,
12 games.
Through, so
8 games in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're only 2 months away from the national championship.
Well, and again, the first weekend of December are all the conference championship games.
Yeah.
So we're a month away from that.
Yes.
Yeah, 4 weeks. Crazy.
Football season goes so fast.
It does. Yep.
Whether it be college or pro, it goes real fast.
Yeah, and it goes so fast around the holidays too. Yeah. That's my favorite time to watch, because I'm on break and all that, and I can just relax and enjoy. I don't have to think about work and other things, and just watch some football. Yeah, I watch it every week, but it's different. Like tomorrow, I've got birthday parties to go to, and I'll be checking it out, but not like I normally would.
Right. Right.
Go turn on the Spartans and see how crappy they were.
Well, man,
but
it was a good week.
Yeah. Now, I do have one more comment.
All right.
A week from today, college basketball. Michigan State is in Hawaii playing Arizona. Fantastic. I think Michigan State's ranked 8th. Arizona's ranked 10th. And just
I don't get into college basketball until March, brother. I just
really.
I
love it.
No.
I love it. Well,
I don't think the regular season means anything until you get the tournaments, whether it be the conference tournaments or the big one. It doesn't mean anything.
To a degree, but for me, I just enjoy watching the game. So when they do these tournaments at Thanksgiving, when they do Maui Classic and all these other ones, I just love them because you get 8 teams in there, and you might play a dog the first day, but then the second day you might be playing a Louisville or somebody else, and all of a sudden you got this incredible matchup you didn't know you were going to have.
Right.
And it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I love it. So
well,
you're right though. There's nothing better than March.
March is the best
to me, and people can disagree, but to me that's the greatest sports thing that goes on all year long. There's a lot of great ones, but to me, that 3 weeks of college basketball is amazing.
That 3 weeks in March is it's some of the greatest basketball. I mean, that's why I don't like the NBA, because the NBA has nothing like it. I mean,
right.
This is pure basketball at its best, because these kids aren't playing for money. These kids are, they're playing for the national championship, and they know it's a one and done thing. Yep. And that's why I love it so much, because of the upsets and the Cinderellas, and you just never know what's going to happen. That's why I love it.
I think my top 4 events of the year are obviously March Madness, the NFL playoffs. Those are always fun.
Yeah, I like the playoffs better than the Super Bowl myself, because the playoffs are so much better.
Third thing, I like the baseball playoffs. This year especially, because it was to me, there was only one dog series, and that was the Texas Blue Jay series.
Yeah.
But then the fourth for me, and I'm not a big fan, I don't even play it, but I love the Masters. Don't know why, but I love watching the Masters.
I haven't played golf in years, because I'm a big fat guy now, so I've got a bad shoulder, so I can't play golf. Yeah. But every year in April, I take that week off from work just so I can watch that tournament, because that's the only tournament that I really, really enjoy, because I love that course, the way the azaleas. And just,
plus here comes spring and here comes summer.
Yeah, exactly. So,
because up here it's still
it's my favorite tournament of the year. Just like in tennis, I love watching Wimbledon and the U.S. Open.
I like those
Masters.
too.
When it comes to golf, it's the Masters. I like it. I like the U.S. Open, like the British Open, but the Masters is the one. The Masters,
exactly.
And TPC Sawgrass.
Yeah. That's a good one.
The Players Championship is always a good one to watch too, because that 17th hole is something else.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you. I take the first weekend of the NCAA basketball. I take the Thursday and Friday off. If I can't take Thursday off, at least I'm able to watch all the late games, because then I take Friday off for sure. Yeah,
so I take at least that week at Master Week. I take at least Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because I watch the part 3, and then I watch all 4 rounds. Yeah, it's fun. It's going to be bittersweet this year, because there'll be no Arnie. It'll be the first one without Arnie.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I like the other. I enjoy NBA. I know you don't, but I like the NHL playoffs. Those are fun too. But those are my top 4.
There's nothing like the hockey playoffs, man.
No, that's crazy. That could be.
The hockey playoffs are nuts. They are.
Yeah, they are.
All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks everybody for coming in. We'll be back Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. for our Sunday pre-show for the NFL week with Derek Laughlin. Elliot will be on hand, as well Scooter. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your weekend. Scott, it's always great talking college football with you.
Same here.
Love it. Love it.
Good stuff. All
right. And everybody, we're out of here, and we'll see you. Take care, Gary.
Bye.
See you.